Hello everyone. I'm going to go over today some skills we need to learn and know in order to complete our Oreo template activity, where we're going to make our own Oreo package for our own unique flavor. In Classroom, there will be a template provided. You just have to download that onto your computer, and then you would open the Oreo template in Photoshop. This should give you everything you need to get started. Once this loads, we'll go over the first skill being replacing the color of our packaging, which is a requirement for this activity. What you'll need to do for that is you'll want to get rid of your other layers. You do this by hitting the kind of I button that allows you to hide the layers. And you'll want to make sure you click the package layer that has your blue package background selected. Next thing you'll do is hit Image and Adjustments. Under Adjustments, there will be a Replace Color option. This will allow us to replace the color of our packaging with a different color. So first thing you do when you get this kind of menu is you'll click the color you want to replace. So you'll double click the box and come out here and click the color you want to replace, which will do the dark blue. Hit OK, and then we will decide what color we want it to be. So I'm going to do a chocolate milk Oreo. So I need to find a brownish color in the kind of menu over here. So this looks pretty good. I'm going to hit OK. Now it has replaced one of the colors. In order to do that for the rest, you hit this plus button here. And now at this point, all you need to do is click all the other colors, and it'll begin changing everything you need to change. Just like that, we have exactly what we need. Hit OK. Now our color of our packaging has been replaced. The next thing you might want to do is also change at least some of the colors for this Oreo part of the Oreo packaging. So we hit the I to bring it back to where we could see it. And now I'm going to show you, along with replacing the color, a kind of different tool you can use to replace the color in a different way. And so I'm going to show you the quick selection tool. It'll be sometimes under object selection tool. You'll just need to click and find quick selection. I'm going to click that. You'll want the plus button. And this essentially is a quicker way to select different parts of images in Photoshop than the pen tool, though it'll be less precise at times. What I would like to do is change the color of the O, R, and E and O for Oreo. Make it, instead of white, a brown color, kind of for that chocolatey flavor. Want to bring that through. So what I'm going to do is click my quick selection, the plus, and now I'm going to click on my white. Let's see, didn't quite work there. Let's actually try this tool, the main one, not plus or minus. See if it'll fill it for us. Oh, you know what I did? Something you'll notice over here if you run into an issue like that is you got to make sure the layer that's selected over here is the one you're trying to change. So we were on package, we want to change the Oreo layer, so we need to click on Oreo. Should be able to click the tool, the plus, and then if we click inside the O, because the white is so different than its background that's blue, it'll automatically select what we want it to. We'll do the same for the R, the E, and the O. And I'll show you in a little bit, it's not always as clean as that. It's only clean here because the colors are so different. And we'll see that when I bring in an outside image. So now we want to make this O, R, E, and O not white anymore. We want to make it like a darker brown to pop. So I'm going to click my color picker down here, go to the oranges section, which is where I should be able to find like a deep brown. I'm going to hit OK. It's now changed my primary color to the brown. I'm going to go Paint Bucket, which will allow me to click inside my selections and change the color. And so now, the next step is we're going to kind of build off of that tool, and we are going to select an outside image and bring it into our packaging. So I have an Oreo, or a chocolate milk image that I would like to bring into my chocolate milk Oreo package. So I'm going to go ahead and open that. It opens a separate tab for us to mess around with. You'll notice it comes in locked in the background slide. If it ever or layer, if it does that, you can hit the lock button to unlock it, which will allow you to do whatever you'd like with it. Just like the Oreo, I am going to use the quick selection tool on the chocolate milk. You probably want to be a little closer to your image, so I got to zoom in a little bit. This will make it easier for the quick selection tool to actually select items that you are looking to get fully selected. You'll notice as I go through this, it's not perfect at first, and sometimes it won't be, but typically it kind of figures out what the shape of the item you're selecting is. Notice how it did that with the straws, and it kind of straightens everything out for me. And so we are going to just kind of run through this chocolate milk now, trying to get it as lined up as possible. And it won't be perfect at first. It'll try to kind of figure out where you're trying to outline, but there's a way for us to correct anything we need to correct. Okay, so it selected all of that. Because the brown and clear is so different, that's why it didn't select here. I'm going to do the clear part now myself. Oh. If you ever run into an issue where it selects a bunch of stuff, you can always Control-Z it. Understand that if you click and drag, which is kind of what I was doing there, and then it screws up, if you Control-Z, it'll undo everything you've been dragging. Sometimes it's good just to tap. That way, if a click kind of messes up or doesn't go a direction you want it to, you can always make the quick undo ability, and it won't affect too much of your selection. So we're going to just kind of roughly go over this cup. Okay. All right, so as you can see, it's mostly selected. There might be a few little rough parts, and so we use the plus tool to continue to do that. But if we run into an issue where we want to kind of minus some of our selection, there's the minus tool. Like here, it kind of rounds out before it reaches the bottom of the cup, so it has some blue. I don't want that blue, so I'm going to click around and have it kind of try to get rid of that blue, one click at a time. Just like that. So it's fixed, a lot more squared up to the cup. If we go down here, there was some kind of situations with that as well. I would say, let's kind of clean up this area. Maybe go back to the plus, mess around with that a little bit. Okay, that looks pretty clean. And so once you kind of get your selection the way you want it to be, what we're going to go ahead and do is feather it first using the Select, Modify, Feather tool. We're going to use just a low pixel amount. We don't want it to be a drastically rounded out selection, but we're going to have it at least softer on the edges. And then now at this point, we have our selection, we feathered it. All we need to do is Control-C to copy. Paste, it should make a new layer, which it did. Now it's too big. We want to bring it down a little bit, so we can Control-T, which will allow us to shrink it in size. We want it to fill up most of the Oreo packaging, so we will kind of get that lined up where we want to. In the middle, it'll give you the pink lines when moving things around to help you with getting things organized in the middle. And you'll notice our chocolate milk is now in front of our Oreo, which we don't want the Oreo title. We want that to be in the front. So you need to adjust your layers over here. Make sure the Oreo layer is in front of our chocolate milk layer. Okay? We can also adjust the Oreo layer down so that way it's not covering up the top part of the chocolate milk. Just kind of add that to it. And this at least looks a lot better. We can also bring in the other layers like the Nabisco logo. Now that we've kind of colored our package, we won't need to mess with that. Bring it in. Bring in our text, which we will need to change, and the Oreo layer. But we're going to try something a little different. For this Oreo layer, we are going to shrink down the Oreo, and I want to have it dipping in the chocolate milk. So the first thing I would need to do, I'm on the layer selected, I'll hit Control-T. I'm going to bring down the Oreo in size. I'm going to rotate it because I want it to be dipping into the chocolate milk. We will need it in front of the chocolate milk to make it kind of look like that. And we are going to make a little adjustment, a kind of a special skill to make it look like it's dipping in there. And I'm going to show you guys that in a second. What we would do is we would take the selection tool, we would go to our chocolate milk, and we want to copy with the selection tool a little selection right here. Maybe a little lesser than that. And what we're going to do is copy it and then paste it into a new layer, which would then have just that part of the chocolate milk forward while the rest would be behind, allowing the Oreo to kind of go in there. Now we can't see it. I just Control-C, Control-V, copy, pasted. But you'll notice I made a new layer, and there's a little speck in there showing that we did kind of bring a little piece of the chocolate milk in. The Oreo is in front of that. We don't want that. We want it to be behind the tiny layer. That way it goes behind that but stays in front of the rest of the cup. And you'll notice if we bring it over here and down, it now is dipping into the chocolate milk. Okay? That's just like a little bit more advanced skill, kind of using the quick selection tool to help us add some layers to our image, help make some cool details. The last two things I want to do is change the title, and I want to change my Oreo from white to a brown color, showing that the Oreo is not going to have a white cream. We'll do the easier one first, which will just be changing the text. We're going to click the text layer. Looks like it's lagging a little bit, so we'll let it do that. Catch up with me. Okay, now we can go to the text tool and click on our text, and it should select it. Now for the template, the font isn't, we don't have this font, at least I don't on my computer. It wants me to replace it with a similar font. I'll hit replace and it replaces it. It didn't even look like it really made too much of a change right there, but that's fine. We'll just kind of roll with whatever it thinks is best. We want it to say kind of what our flavor of cookie is. So we have a chocolate milk flavored sandwich cookie. Now you'll notice it kind of spreads out over into the middle of our packaging, which we don't really want. We want it to stay in that corner. So I'm going to bring down the sandwich cookie layer. I'm going to hit enter twice to create that separation. And now we should be able to move it up right back to that corner, and as if it looks like it's supposed to say that and be in the right spot. And so now at this point we've replaced some colors, we've used the selection tool, added some details, added an image. The last thing I'd like to do is is change the Oreo flavoring, right? It's a white cream, we want to make it more of a dark brown, maybe the same as the Oreo here. So we already have that color selected, so all we need to do is go to the Oreo layer, which is layer 5 for us. We're going to take our quick selection tool, should be on the plus, and we're just going to tap, and if you ever need to zoom in you can, but the white might be able to be caught because it's so different than the cookie color. And it looks like here it might have gone a little bit into the chocolate. We don't want that. Okay. And now we're going to change the color. As simple as just using the paint bucket tool and clicking inside of our Oreo. Just like that, it changed the color. Control D is how we will get rid of that. Oh, looks like some of the white didn't select, so we'll bring it back. Maybe click up here, see if maybe our selection was in a couple pieces. Control D, let's see if that fixed it. For the most part, that fixed it. I could take some time to really adjust it, but at least we have the Oreo a different flavor now, and I've been able to show you guys that skill. Another thing I could add is on a new layer, if I wanted to add some more details, I could use the pen tool and maybe add like a couple little stripes in the packaging, something like this. But I'm not going to do it perfect right now. I'm just trying to show you guys an option. And then I could color that a different color and just add some more details. But this should hopefully give you an idea of what's expected of the Oreo packaging and show you how some of the skills work and help you going forward as you make your own. Thank you guys. Have a good rest of your day.